It's okay. Yeah, people come in for these like consultations pretty often. You're not the only person that doesn't know how to deal with their hair. It's actually a pretty common problem. Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people weren't taught growing up because their parents maybe didn't know, or maybe the things that their parents taught them actually were hurting their hair, and just like certain things we just don't know about our hair. And so yeah, that's why I love when people book these consultations, because then they can just get like a rundown, a little lesson about their hair, and then they can know what to do from going forward to keep it nice and healthy. So I see you have some braids in right here. It's no problem. I'm just gonna take these out up front just so we can truly see the textures of your hair. And no, I'm happy that you did that. Actually, it helps. Yes, because then I can see it in its stretched state. The back of your hair, is this it stretched, or okay? So your hair like dries this way. Okay, not really stretched out, kind of laid on it. Yeah, okay, I get it. Okay, so I'm gonna take these braids out, these plaits. So while I do that, just tell me a little bit about your hair and your hair journey. You can go back as early as you can remember, just give me the rundown just so I can have an overview of your hair's history from your point of view. Kind of like when a doctor gets your medical history. Okay. Yeah. Let me know if I'm pulling too tight or anything, or like tugging. Okay. Okay, so now you're like really focused on like just doing like a natural hair. You're trying to get those curls back. No, I understand. So basically you've had like a lot of different experiences with perms and then keratin treatments and things. And yeah, and I don't want to say I'm not a person that's gonna be all like, oh, perms are bad for you, everybody should be natural, no one should be doing keratin treatments. You can get those things done, and it can still be done in a healthy way, in a way that keeps that it sustains the health of your hair. So it all just depends on the stylist and your person you go to, and how well they're keeping up with their own hair education and things. Okay, so that is your goal. You want to be completely natural, free of majority of chemicals. You want to be as heat free as possible as well. Okay. Yeah, like I said before, there's no issue with that. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do with your hair, just let me know and we can get you on the right track. Even if you want to get back into perming your hair again, we still can prepare your hair and get it ready for that. Right? Okay, so now just tell me about any of the hair concerns that you notice yourself on your own, and while you do that, I'm just gonna look through your hair and just like compare the different textures and things, and just see what I see while you're talking. Is there product? Okay, yeah. Okay, well, I was gonna say a lot of people do notice like curl inconsistencies, meaning like for me specifically, I feel like I have a looser texture up front and a tighter texture in the back of curls, and that could just be genetics in the way that your hair grows naturally on your head. However, it also could be because of certain deficiencies, or maybe like tension and pulling in certain areas. So do you wear these? Like, do you wear tension hairstyles up front a lot, or? Yeah, you do. Okay, so let's how about we just take these out then. Yeah, you're always wearing like little ponytails. I understand, like that's a nice slick back and make it lift your face. It makes you look a little bit more neater. I understand that, but that could really be damaging your hair if you do it too frequently. It's no problem with every now and then, but you have to have some variety when it comes to your hair. Yeah, because pulling on that all the time. Like, that's not good for your scalp. That's definitely not good for the hair strands. And yeah, you feel like, you know, the front of your hair is thinner, you know, less thick, the curls are loose, and that could be why. So I feel like that's one of our first little homework tidbits that we're going to take away, that I want you to take away from this consultation today. We're going to limit the amount of ponytails that we're doing in our hair, specifically for the front of your hair. Yes. Okay. I was going to say, your hair doesn't seem particularly dry, like dried out or anything, but you do experience dry scalp sometimes. Okay. And I feel like that could be combated with some oiling or some deep conditioning, and you know, and increasing your intake of water. That was almost a really bad tongue twister. But yes, if you like increase your intake of water, I feel like, yeah, because it's not that often that you get the dry scalp. Yeah. Any other concerns besides, you know, the thinness and the problems in this area in the front? About your crown, does the crown of your head ever seem to have any problems? I don't think that I see anything. Okay. Perfect. So now, like I said, I think we should just keep this out. So since you want to work on the healthiness of your hair, you want to get your curls back, you know, as tight and coily as possible, as moisturized and as possible, and you want to retain some length, I can just right off the bat say that I would recommend some twist out and braid out hairstyles from you quite frequently. I think that would really retain the lift of your hair, and that would really help you know, rebuild those bonds, and it's less manipulation and things. It's just, I really think those would be the go-to styles for you. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my spray bottle of warm water. That's our second lesson, warm water on your hair. Yes, I feel like it really opens up the cuticles and then that hair shaft, and it allows any conditioners, oils, or products that you put in your hair, any stylers, it really allows it to penetrate that hair. Yes. Another thing, they also create hair refreshers for natural hairstyles and things that may have like aloe vera juice in there and things like that, different oils like essential oils and things, different extracts that could also be really good for when you're you know, taking down your twist out or something, or wanting to fluff it out and you don't want to necessarily wet your hair. I would highly recommend those for that moisture and everything, and also to manipulate that hair. Yeah, because it's kind of like spraying and putting vitamins in your hair, just like a plant. Your hair is going to need water almost every single day in order to grow and, you know, be beautiful and bountiful. But sometimes you don't want to just have water. Sometimes you want to have extra added vitamins in that water, like, you know, when we drink lemon water and lime water and things, and infused waters, right? Yeah, so that's basically the same thing. It's doing the same things for your scalp. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go through this back part first, wet it, and then, you know, compare it to when I wet the front, things like that. Okay, do you know your hair's porosity? Okay, I'm gonna figure that out right now as I'm going through your hair. Okay, let me try it one more time. Okay, your hair is low porosity, but it's not super low porosity. I still have to work the water in for it to actually penetrate your hair strands, but not as much as I would as other people. Like for my hair specifically, I have to work it in a lot and spray a lot more than what I do for your hair. Yeah, like it does still sit on top of it technically. However, when I work it in, it doesn't take as much work, you know. So that means it's not as I won't even say it's bad. I don't want to use that word. It's not as much of a concern as it should be. But definitely, you know, you can, like I said, fix that with like some deep conditionings and some steam treatments. Yeah, like your hair looks wet, but it's not really. Okay, good. So yeah, steam treatment. So if you don't have a steamer at home, what I like to do is take a shower cap. You know, I put my hair in some deep conditioner in my hair and take a shower cap and wet the inside of that shower cap just a little bit and poke a couple of holes, put that shower cap over my head, then put another shower cap over my head, and the second one you can also wet that one as well, but don't really have to, and then use like a blow dryer, and that would be like, yeah, giving your hair like a good steaming. That will really allow your deep conditioners to, you know, get into that hair. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely recommend things that are good, high in protein, but also high in moisture, like avocado and honey, you know, things like that. The avocados for the protein, the honey's for the moisture, and things. So always look for products that kind of have a bit of both. I feel like your hair would definitely, you know, greatly appreciate that. And yeah, like I said, let me add more water, work it in. Yeah, and I feel like that'd be the easiest and the quickest way to get those curls back, because you already cut out majority of the permed ends. Yeah, I can see that. It's like just a little bit of the straight ends at the end, maybe about an inch left. So majority of your hair is natural. However, I see what you mean. The curls could just be healthier. They could be, your hair could be a little bit more, you know, moisturized, you know, a little less dry and things. I see that. And also the way, so yeah, at the front, the water isn't penetrating as nearly as well as in the back. So it's definitely because the front is more gunked up with product, because you had that braid in there and it looked like you had some gel. So that brings us to the second, to the, I don't know, tip 3 or 4, not sure. Your shampoos are very, very, very important to your hair. Sometimes it's okay to just get any old regular shampoo, but the health and treatment of your hair starts at the shampoo bowl. We always say that. So I would definitely recommend you get a clarifying shampoo, especially right now. I'm feeling your scalp is all gunked up with this gel at the top. And because you slick this area of your hair back a lot, it gets skunked up with gel a lot. That's also probably what's making it thin out. Yes. It's never actually really getting clean, and some of those gels have alcohols in them, which dries out your hair and things. Yeah. Yeah, so a good clarifying shampoo would just really clean the strands and the scalp of your hair and just allow for a nice fresh base. A nice fresh base, it's what's really going to help when you're doing those deep conditioning and steam treatments, because what's the point of doing them on dirty hair strands? You know, you're not getting the full benefit of the product. And I definitely, yeah, it's really gunked up. You definitely need a clarifying shampoo. The water isn't even penetrating this as well as it does the back. And no, it's okay. We're here to learn. This is why you booked the consultation, honey. It's okay. This is quite literally my job. Yeah. Definitely. I can already tell that these curls are a lot more loose as well than the ones in the back. The ones in the back are a lot more coily. These are more almost on the wavy side. And so I know I said earlier, deep conditioners that have protein and moisture, but I think that maybe you should really try a protein treatment this month or next month, and specifically focusing on this front area of your hair and maybe a little bit of the crown, because I noticed this part has a little bit of sparse and thinning. Could be because of, you know, those slick backs and those ponytails as well. But yeah, protein treatments, Afro G, Olaplex, Curl Smith, those are all good brands with wonderful protein treatments. Curlsmith is specifically for curls. I love them down. Would really recommend those ones. Yeah, definitely. But clarifying shampoos, anything with like a tea tree oil and or ACV, apple cider vinegar, that would be pretty good. A lot of them will say clarifying on there, and then you can read the bottle and the ingredients and see if it's something you would be interested in. Yeah, I feel like most of our concerns should be with your hair about this thinness in these certain spots, and getting your scalp together with that clarifying shampoo, and also like the protein treatment. I mean, in a couple of more months, maybe then we can focus on the length of your hair. But I feel like once we get the health of your hair down pat, the length will come. And that's why people don't have length. They're like, oh, why can't I grow my hair? Well, it's not healthy. You haven't been loving on it. So she's not going to grow. Just like, like a plant. Yeah, you're like, why isn't my plant growing? I'm like, well, she's starving for one. Okay, so in the back here, I'm going to wet it again. And then I'm going to just apply my Briogeo Superfoods. It's an avocado and kiwi mega moisture 3-in-1 spray. Yeah, this is the type of things that you really want. This is like a leave-in conditioner, a detangler. I would even put it on, before I do like a blow dry or something. It has a lot of great benefits to it. Yes, I'm just going to spray this on your hair, and I'm just going to see the way the product interacts. And already, I'm like, your hair's already pretty much dry back here, so you definitely are low porosity. It just sucks up that moisture and just stays on top. Like, it's interesting. It doesn't really like penetrate. Yep, those steam treatments will help with that, getting products to penetrate in your hair. I'm gonna take the lid off. When you detangle your hair, what do you use? Do you use just your fingers? Do you use a variety of tools? What do you use? Okay, so I would not recommend a diamond brush for detangling. That's more of how to style and clump your curls. I would recommend a tangle teaser, which has bristles that are similar to like a paddle brush, but they just don't have the balls on the end, and they're like really skinny teeth. They really get through and really smooth and detangle those curls. And then you would go in with the diamond brush second to like clump and to define and to like shape and all that and curl them further, But yeah, a diamond brush can cause a little bit of breakage because it's not necessarily good for detangling. And yeah, like I said, I really do have to work product in, but you could still feel it sitting on top. So we really, like I said, deep conditioning with like a steam treatment, maybe even some hot oil treatments every now and then. The only reason why I don't really like to recommend those is because sometimes people's scalp don't react too well to the hot oil treatments, and then they end up being more dry afterwards. You get more flakes and things, but that just depends on your scalp and your hair. Okay, I'm just inspecting your curls, seeing how they clump, if they do, seeing if they are defined. Just gonna twirl some around my finger and see what they do, see if they have elasticity. You don't have much elasticity in the curls. Once again, it needs lots of protein. Yep, I'm like, go ahead, take some notes if you need to. I'm like, right now the major takeaways is protein treatments. The protein treatments will help for the elasticity of your curls, the strength of your curls, and then like the thinness and stuff in this area. You just need to rebuild the bonds in the hair. Yeah, and deep conditionings, yes. Okay, I'm gonna just try on this side just to see and compare. Yes, that is a thing. Some people's certain parts of your hair can react differently to the products. I know like the nape of my neck reacts so differently to products than the front of my hair. Like I have to do different things when styling them. So I'm just gonna add a little bit. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that elasticity. I understand what you mean about how your curls could be curlier, and I see the potential for them to be curlier, but it still seems like your bonds are still damaged, maybe at the molecular level from from the years and years and years of like the chemical treatments. So I would just say I would recommend for the protein treatment, let's get the Curlsmith brand. They're specifically designed and targeted for curls. So I just feel like that would be the best protein treatment you can get. So I will look into that, and then just let's immediately start with deep conditioners. I think like a Design Essentials would have a really good one for your hair. Briogeo has really good deep conditioners as well. Yeah. I'm just gonna brush through a little bit. And your ends are pretty decent despite, you know, having a little bit of that permed end left, just like an inch left. I will say, you know, brushing through it, it doesn't catch as often as I would expect. Yeah. So yeah, when you do like a twist out or something or a braid out, I would just give your ends a nice dusting, just clipping those ends. Yeah. And then, you know, before you know it, you'll be 100% natural, even no permed ends or anything. Okay, let's get your hair dry up here. I'm just gonna wet it and then spray some of that Briogeo in there for you. Yep, and don't forget, I was gonna say warm water when you're styling your hair. Even when you're washing your hair, initially put warm water on it just to open up those cuticle shafts. And then, you know, when you're actually washing, you could turn it down a little lower, a little cooler, I mean. Yeah, just initially to open up that shaft, just so that those shampoos and things that you're using can actually get the chance to, you know, penetrate and work. Yeah, and I said clarifying shampoos are going to be your best friend. They also have moisturizing shampoos if you're interested in that. But like I said, you can just get a nice conditioner for detangling and then a good deep conditioner, you know, to follow up with after you use the clarifying shampoo. Because yes, they will make your hair feel a little dry. Well, some of them can. Really good ones don't strip your hair to the point where it feels dry. Yeah, that Briogeo avocado, it's really good. Look how it just like moisturizes your hair, and I could just brush through it. Sorry. Okay. And yeah, I was gonna say, if you ever want a nice curly cut, I do curly cuts as well. I think you would look good with a nice, you know, bob. Yeah, like a side part bob maybe, that would be cute. And we just cut off those permed ends. I would love to do that for you. Let me know if you want to book that. Okay, so we're all done with the consultation. Like I said, clarifying shampoo, really great deep conditioners with steam treatments, protein treatments specifically by the brand Curlsmith. be your best friend. Low tension hairstyles, no more ponytails, twist outs, braid outs, okay? Yes, and sometimes wash and goes. If you think you like how your hair looks like that, you can do flexi rod sets for a different type of curl, perm rod sets, whatever. Just the least amount of tension as heat as possible. So you really want to repair this hair of yours. And yeah, I would definitely recommend going get a clarifying shampoo today, specifically for this area of your hair. Yeah, and maybe a protein treatment so you can get started on repairing these bonds. And like I said, if you want, when we're when you're done, you can go book a curly cut with me. We can get that done, and I can give you my own special brand of protein treatments, if you would like. Yeah. No problem. It's okay, girl. We're gonna get this hair together. You're gonna be looking so beautiful. You already look beautiful, but your hair's about to look so amazing by the time we're done with you at the end of the year. I promise you're gonna have a completely new look, completely brand new looking hair. It's gonna be so healthy, I promise. Yes. Yeah. You can look right up there, yeah.